Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and the glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone, GMS, who taught me this truth. Honors to the brethren in the Akim out there that's pushing out this truth with all sincerity and in faith. And to Wadi YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, for allowing me once again to come back with another lesson. Title of this lesson is basically going to simply be titled, trust, or example of trust. And the example that I have for you brothers today, which we have all read it before, and it truly is a good one good example of many, of an example of men that trust the Heavenly Father when everything was set up against them, and see, in these last days, as these days go by and go on, and as we edge closer and closer to the end of this world, we're gonna have, it's gonna get more tough out here. It's gonna get a little bit more rough. And no matter what happens, we have to continue to trust and believe and have our faith in the Heavenly Father that, that He will provide, that He will provide aid. He will provide a level of a hedge around us, a protection. Have the angels over us, so on and so forth. And it's all going to come down to who trusts in the Most High and who doesn't. And that's why it says here, let's read this, Proverbs 3, and I'll start at 1. And it says, "My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments." See that? And that's what we want to do is let thy heart, when it says your heart, it's meaning your mind, to keep the commandments of God. Okay, keep the commandments of the Most High. And why? Because this is what's given to those that do such to the best of your ability. It says, "For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee." So the length of days and long life and peace, that's what's going to be added unto you. Is longer days, longer life, and peace on top of that. And that's all that you really need, And it says, "And let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck, and write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of the Heavenly Father and man." And it says, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding. And in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy path." See that? And that's what we want to do. Trust in the Lord with everything we got. And don't lean to what we think is right. Trust Him. Trust the process. Trust the, that's it. Trust the process, Now let's go here to the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse 1. This is the example of trust that I'd want to, go into. So this is Daniel chapter 3, verse 1, and it says, "And Nebuchadnezzar the king had an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. And it says, and he set it up upon the plain of Duran, in the provinces of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, and it says the governors, and the captains, and the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image of which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, and it says the sheriffs and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And then herald, and it says then an herald, which a herald is a messenger. And it says, and then an herald cried aloud to you, it was commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, phylactery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And it says, and whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And it says, and therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, phylactery, and all kinds of music, all the people, nations, and languages fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And wherefore at the time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews, because the children of Judah were captive there. All right, Daniel and then the men that were with Daniel. Okay. And it says, there were certain, then spake and said to Nebuchadnezzar the king, or Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, phylactery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth that he should, and worship, and it says, and whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And it says, and there were certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. And it says, they serve not thy gods, nor worship the image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do ye not serve my gods, nor worship the image which I have set up? And it says, Now if ye be ready, that at the time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, phylactery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast in the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is this power that shall deliver you out of my hand? So you hear, he's being proud as of right now. Like, yeah, and guess what? Who's going to deliver you, man? Your God ain't going to do nothing, Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But, here's the alternative, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and from his rage, Salakia. Okay, we're good. Been waiting here at this job site. Nobody showed up. And it was scheduled. But I'm the only one that's been here since like 9. I don't know if they're running late. I don't know if people are taking a day off or what. I mean, I guess it is Sunday. So, but hopefully somebody shows up, because if not, I'm just gonna, I'm just probably gonna head home. But I decided, since I'm waiting here, let me get a lesson in. Verse 19. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and from his rage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats and hose, and their hats, and all their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the fierce furnace, exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto the counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? Then they answered and said unto the king, True, O king. And he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of Man, that was the Lord, walking with them in the fire. And the princes and governors and captains, where was I? Oh, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fiery furnace, or of the midst of the fire. And the princes and governors and captains and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was the hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of the fire passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him. And he changed, and it says, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own. Wherefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the provinces of Babylon. And see, the reason why they were delivered and protected is because they trusted in the Most High. They had their faith in him. They even told him, look, hey, the only thing we're going to do is we're going to worship our power, and if you do what you must, but at the end of the day, we're still not going to worship nor bow down to your image, and then this is their testimony of them, hey, walking through the fire, man, with the Lord, and you probably, those, and those men were probably like, man, hey, this might be it for us, man, and then lo and behold, the Most High, he sends forth the deliverer, YAHAWASHI, to be with them and to show the power of their power. All right, YAHAWASHI, that power. It's one of my favorite chapters in books to read about, especially when it comes to concerning trust. But I'm gonna go ahead and end here through the Spirit. I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. And as always, I'm gonna give all the praises, honor, and the glory to YAHAWAH, BaHaShem, YAHAWASHI, BaHaShem, Rakak, Wadash. And it's on to the next one, Akim. Shalom.